Hey, welcome back to Radio Melee. It's another wonderful week. We have another wonderful guest. That's right. Representing the Warriors better than either me or PP could. Really, we should just lose our jobs and, whatever. It's PewPewU. It's your boy. What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you guys so much for having me. And I wish that we could have done it last week, but this week is going to be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, just for people curious, we did skip a week. You might notice if you're one of the YouTube watchers, we didn't have an upload last week. That's because we were gonna have PP last week, but yeah, our producer actually got married and had wonderful news. So we skipped a week because, what are you gonna do? But we got PP on this week, and we've known each other for a long time. As have, PP, y'all too. I mean, definitely played in the same era and stuff like that. So,
Yep. We played. I've played both of you guys in singles, doubles, I think crew battles even, and I think there's a good decade overlap of all of our when we're all competing and whatnot.
Yeah, that is for sure. And it's funny because I feel like these days, actually, I don't know if this is my imagination, but I feel like I feel like I run into you on the Slippy, the streets of Slippy frequently is how I feel.
No, this is true. I think I actually run into you more than anybody. Period.
Know.
No, not even that I know. I just will always run into you. I don't know what it is. I'm on for 30 minutes after a work day, and you're there. And then we play, we don't say anything, and then at the end we chat. Yeah, each time I try to tell you GG's bro. Yeah, I'm trying to make bro catch on, but
it's catching on. It's catching on,
Okay, good.
I'd like to think it's catching on. It's there must be something to. I have this whole theory about people you run into frequently because of just the times of day that you play and your region and stuff like that. There was even back in the Anthers days, I felt like because I always played right after work, there was always the exact same people who were queuing at that exact time. So I played Aatrox every day for months, which was really funny because he could never beat me, obviously.
I feel like, were you two ever coworkers at Twitch when that was happening?
And
in Anthers days?
Yes,
okay,
actually,
that's funny as hell.
Which was pretty funny. And I'd bring it up sometimes. PP, how are you doing?
Doing good. Glad to have this going on. I do wonder when we're going to have a moment where you refer to PewPewU as Kevin and things get weird. I look forward to that moment. Surely it'll only happen one time.
Y'all both know my Kevin story, right? My story about this. I've probably told both of you about this at some point, but it's like Kings of Cali. What was the Kings of Cali you went to, PP? That I think
First one,
and that's the only one you went to.
Yes.
So it must have been Kings of Cali 1. Okay, so it's Kings of Cali 1, I guess. And I think you two might have played each other.
I don't think so.
Don't think we did.
You did not play each other?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe. You didn't play each other. If you both don't think you did, then you probably did. Because one of you would be like, no, we played. Okay, then what it must have been was... it was either that you were both playing each other and I was asking who was winning, or I saw... You know what it might have been? Because there were it was cool, right? It was a bar tournament, and they put the games on some projectors and some screens in the bar. And I saw that there was a blue Marth playing that looked very good because it was pretty late in bracket. So I was like, well, it has to be one of you two. And I remember asking or it could have been that it wasn't Kings of Cali 1 at all. You know what? That probably was what it was. It was probably another tournament that you actually were playing each other at.
See, the thing is, it might have been Apex. I don't think PP was really playing Marth that much in Kings of Cali 1 era. Isn't that right?
Not really. I did it once against Mango when I was losing anyway, and then I still lost. So,
but you won that tournament, right?
I did. Not with Marth though. He did not play a role at that time.
Okay.
All Falco. Then it must have been another tournament. Anyway, I just remember walking up to it set up and there was a decent crowd around, so I couldn't really see the TV too well, and I was trying to ask somebody hey, who's winning? And they were like, Kevin's winning. And I was like, and then I was like, which player, which Kevin? And they said it's kind of loud. It's like a tournament environment, right? So they're trying to watch. There's a big crowd of people, so it's kind of loud and it's hard to hear. And they're like, PewPewU's winning. And I was like, did you say PewPewU or PP? And we're kind of yelling, and I was just like, "Fuck!" And I like gave up. I was like, "I can't. I'm not making any inroads here because your names are too similar." So I just gave up. I think, or I found a chair to stand on to figure out what the hell was going on. But
We didn't do it intentionally to confuse you, I promise.
And you were on EG at the time, PP with PPD. So you had all kinds of bullshit going on with your name.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Naming conventions and me are truly something.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, fun fact. Before we get into like any topics or anything like that, there was a YouTube video of PP fighting, I want to say Loser in friendlies on YouTube in like 2008, and I commented and I was like, Dr. PP is a fucking hilarious name, and you were just like, thanks, man. And then like, and then you became like such an amazing player and like so known, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then the name. I think the moment that you got signed to EG and it became public, that Dr. PP was no more.
Yeah, that was a big day. Because I got signed. I moved to my old place in Raleigh. I graduated from college all in the same day. So it was
God,
chaotic day. Big day.
That I did not know.
Yeah, so ever since then I think things have been a lot quieter in my life. That was the day a lot changed. And then I started overlapping my name tag with everyone, still feeling the repercussions of that.
Can you confirm if EG did not ask you if it was okay to change your name to PPMD?
Yeah, was that like part of the contract? I actually don't know the story.
Okay, my impression is that they did not ask you, and then the graphic came out, and you were PPMD. It just happened. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'll go through this quick. This is the PewPewU episode. I feel a little bad talking so much about myself, but
okay, this is important.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I was wanting to change to PPMD anyway. To be clear about this, and I was like looking for an opportunity, and I wasn't sure when it was going to happen. And I felt like it was a good, and I really wanted to, but I wasn't sure. I got signed, and my manager was talking to me on. We used Skype then, and I was Dr. PP on Skype, and so he knew what my tag was. But when the announcement came out, you're right, I was not consulted, and they said we signed PPMD, and then everyone freaked out, like, "Oh my gosh, this is this tag, and my manager's like, "Why is everyone upset?" And I was like, don't worry about it. That's what I wanted to do this anyway.
So you were kind of down. You were like,
yeah, I was like looking for an excuse. Yeah,
it was kind of perfect. I've known you for a long time, and I feel like, okay, I have a question for you then. How did you name yourself Dr. PP, or how did that even happen in the first place?
That one was more of a choice, but it was given to me by my friend in middle school who roasted the life out of me. I spilled orange juice on myself one day, and of all the things
I have heard this story.
Yeah, that was one of them, and it didn't stick. It's not like it was something he called me a lot. It was just that one day, but I thought it was like so out of nowhere and funny. And when I was going to my first tournament, several years later, I was like, "Oh, I need a tag." I hadn't thought of one. And it was between that and Hot Fuzz, and then apparently
that's a good tag. You like that movie? You seen that movie?
I actually didn't see it. I was out at
the time. You haven't seen Hot Fuzz?
Oh. Well, I didn't. If I had the tag, I would have been obligated to, right?
Yeah.
But
you would have seen it at that.
It was unfortunate. But yeah, so I ended up going with Dr. PP just because people thought it was funnier, and I thought I wanted a funny tag because I'm not going to be any good at the game. I don't want people to know who I am.
Yeah, there's this whole concept that I think eludes people where the sort of gamer tag that's really great to have at your first tournament might not be the sort of gamer tag that ends up being a great gamer tag if you happen to become an amazing player.
Please learn from my example.
When you go for your first tournament, you don't really know, right? You don't know you're going to be a great player. You might suck. You might lose interest. Who knows?
I played soccer my whole life, and I knew I wasn't going to have pro ambitions. I figured Melee would be no different.
Crazy. Anyway, good to get to the bottom of that, because I actually didn't know a lot of that stuff about you, PP, despite having done Radio Melee.
Me too. That's my first time ever hearing that story.
Oh, well, thank you for that. But please, our esteemed guest today, PewPewU, if you guys don't somehow know, is someone who had an illustrious career, performing incredibly well in NorCal. I believe you were probably top ranked in NorCal at least once. I'm sure several times. You were part of I'm not going to get into at least contention for top team. I don't whether it's definitely or
It's
not.
okay. It's for the top team.
I'll say top team.
Team.
I'll say
Sure.
top team.
I'm not here to whatever, but
I'll say
very,
it.
very
You'll say
strong
it?
team with SFAT, PewFat. So I certainly want to hear your thoughts about that, doubles, everything else. And so, I think, you've gone on to do work with CLG as well. So hearing about esports and everything from you too would be great. So I'm glad we have you with us. And yeah, so I love hearing the strong feelings on doubles. Maybe we can start there. Why do you think you excelled so much in doubles, and what made you in SFAT a top team?
Okay, so to like really answer this, I'm gonna have to talk about my history with the two Smash games. So first, obviously Smash 64.
Oh.
And so I started with Smash 64. I got this like when I was like 8 years old. This was like year 2000, 1 year before Melee comes out. Get it for my birthday. I'm an extremely non-confrontational kid, and so rather than like playing against my sister, we would play doubles against two level 9s.
Oh.
And so, my introduction to Smash is like largely in doubles. And then like kind of same goes for Melee. Like Melee, I'm like pretty good for like just picking up the game, but the friend group that we played with were these two brothers who like knew advanced techniques and whatnot, and Zach and I would always go over there. And so when we would play, a lot of times it would also be doubles. And so like kind of my foundation in both games is largely in doubles. So like I kind of think just naturally out the womb, I kind of had like a knack for playing the format, in both games.
Wow. Who'd you play in 64?
Guess. At a young age, nowadays I play Fox, but you should guess.
I will guess. PP, I think me and you should both lock a guess, and
Yes.
then we should, you know what I'm saying? At a young age. This is like, what's young here?
I'm 8 years old or so. Like,
Yeah.
I think.
I'll go Link.
I'll go Ness.
I picked the most vanilla character. I played Mario.
Mario? You played Mario! Oh,
I picked
man.
Mario, and
Mario
I was
loops back around to being cool, though. Is what we know, I think, at this age, right? Maybe not back
nowadays.
then.
Nowadays, he's cool. He's cool. But before, he's kind of just the familiar homie with a big ass forward smash. So that was kind of the logic there.
Oh, man. That's so sick.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I really do. If we're going to talk about doubles, I need to paint a picture. I don't think people get this who've gotten into Melee recently, or even not even recently. I think even within the last 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
What really blew my mind, because I've been in the Melee community since, I don't know, like 2008. For as long as I'd ever remembered, to be a top team, like to be a team that could win a doubles tournament at a major, you had to have one of the 5 gods or whatever. Or point is, you had to have somebody on the team that could win singles tournaments. You had to.
Yeah.
That was winning singles majors. You had to.
Yeah.
It was Music King, and then, the Mango Lucky era, and then PP Loser. But that was all the top teams. All the top teams were at least one, and then sometimes 2. Sometimes it was Music King Armada.
Yeah.
And you were the first team that broke that mold, and and it wasn't just winning 1 or 2 tournaments here or there. It was like it was consistent, and it was to the point where you would watch, you and Zach in doubles sets against the top players who would win singles majors very reliably, i.e. the 5 gods, because that was that era.
Mm-hmm.
And you would just be dismantling them, and it was completely, I think, people who were watching doubles at the time, and everybody who had been watching doubles from the time period where I got into the game, I think everyone's mind was kind of blown, because it was like, well, this is completely breaking the mold. This has not existed before. No one's done this before, and no one's doing with the level of consistency that these guys are doing, right?
Even
was that a
it doesn't seem like
how did that? I mean, PP, I want to ask you about that too, because you were one of the people who was also a tournament threat. So how did that feel for you? As someone who's a competitor.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest about it. I was a singles player that played doubles, so the opposite. And I think they played like a team. They played like they had set plays. They had real comms. I mean, they and now you're hearing about all the the work and the way he probably, interacts with the game probably makes more sense through doubles, right? It makes more sense that and when I would play, I would, you could feel at times that they would move as a unit, right? And there would be times where like, Mewtwo King Armada, because like they played so much or they talked about things so much, could do that some.
Mhm.
And then I don't think I ever played UGS, or maybe I did and I don't remember, but playing UFAT, it was much more apparent that that was kind of going on at all times. And that just isn't something that is really easy to replicate given the speed of Melee, and given especially how much people prefer singles. But I think it also just takes thinking about things really differently. And so I just find it very impressive, very fun to watch. Probably more fun to watch than experience.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just because like Zach and I have such a good SBAT and I have such a good like working relationship,
Mhm.
and like there have been like many times. I would say there have been like two key times in Melee, like in our doubles history, where we've been like, let's stop teaming for half a year, get better as singles players, reinvent the wheel
Oh, interesting.
one time and again, and come back with new strategies. And I think like Zach and I, maybe UGS as well, but like maybe the only team that had like rules for each character, all super like data based, like it's all like percent driven,
Oh,
like
wow.
maybe like I'm not going to be in front when it's a combination of there's a combination of variables. So it could be like my percentage or Zach's percentage or who's the leader on this team. I can chip them out until 40% and then I can start getting meaningful hits, things like that. And we're like constantly iterating on it over like 15 years. And so like as we build all that stuff, it became like more natural and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, like my favorite moments in Melee like are all teams moments. Like I think my biggest like moment for like the influencing the game was like my set against Hungrybox at Apex.
Mhm.
But that is not even like a top 3 like Melee memory for me, to be honest. Like the top 3 are all full of doubles memories.
So what's number
Wow.
1 for you?
Oh, number 1 is Big House 6, or was it 5? I don't know. That was when we ended up fighting against Team Alliance, aka Team UGS, for the first time ever. They're the
Wait,
number 1
really?
team in Europe. Yes, the number 1 team in Europe. We're arguably the number 1 team in the US. We pretty much got it. And so, we're the 1 seed. They're the 2 seed. We end up playing in winners finals, game 5. We end up playing grand finals, game 5. And it was just like, my favorite moment was in game 5 of grand finals. It's like neck and neck the whole time on Yoshi's story, but like I really get like a really, really good 30 seconds where I'm just like breaking the whole flow of everything, like getting them off their feet and like finding the setups, and like that was just like the most magical moment in my career. I think that's the longest I'd ever stayed like in a flow state.
Oh, wow. I gotta go back and watch that.
So
Dude,
not even the result, just that period of time.
Yeah,
right?
that's so sick.
Because,
Oh yeah, it's not even the result. I just think that moment was so electric and that was also probably the last time that I really felt like a strong regional pride in this is at Big House, so we're in like the Midwest. We're hearing PewFat chants, CLG chants, USA chants, and there's also a little pocket of Europeans and stuff, but like it was like a spectacle, this was like everyone in the room was watching it, and like we knew that this was like the time. And the weeks leading up to it, I was like watching like VODs every night. I was coming up with strategies. Zach and I were like talking through everything, and so when we finally got to play them and we go 10 games with them, it was fucking incredible.
Yeah, that sounds really magical. I feel like a lot of players, like at most levels of skill, many of their best memories are, like you said, PP, results based. It's like when I won this thing, or when I, in the crowd, very extrinsic. So I think it's actually really sick to have a memory that's extremely intrinsic,
Right.
where it's like, yeah, it was a moment in, and I bet if a lot of top players stop to think about it, did you, I don't know, PP, you ever have a moment like that where you're like, yeah, I broke Mewtwo King's ankles this one time, and
the
some shit like
my
that.
I mean, immediately when he's talking about those moments, I'm thinking to Smashers Reunion Grand Finals, that first set, because there were some moments where
Oh man.
I played with so little fluff. I had just been so deep into Bruce Lee's work at the time, and I played with so little fluff and such focus and such flow. And I realized Armada was very human in those moments and actually felt fear. And that was and it was it was such a special
What
time.
tournament?
Smashers Reunion Melee Grand. It was summer of 2012.
And that was in Europe.
I was in Europe. In particular, I was most happy with Game 7 because that was almost a 4-stock. If I didn't do a silly dare off the stage and just did the correct one, it would have been one. But that's I came out of it and got too excited.
You're allowed to fool around a little bit if you're 4-stocking someone, I think.
Yeah.
So,
but all the same, yeah. So I immediately, resonated with that. Like I lost the second set, and then every other game of the first set, I came out of it. So it's not like the whole set I liked it, but there were so many moments, and especially that 7th game where it was just a special time, and I was like, yeah, more than the result, that feeling is something that I think is something I'm still looking forward to, and I still encourage in other people. So I completely understand and completely, it makes so much more sense how you can love doubles and love these experiences, because that's what really gets you hooked. Those types of feelings. It's because the placements, like, you're happy in the moment, and then after a week you're like, okay, well, now what?
Yeah. Oh, the cool thing is, it's like I don't think. Okay, so it's really hard to say who the best doubles player is of all time or the best doubles player in the moment. But like, regardless of the result, like in that moment and the moments leading up to it, I was like, I might not be like the best player, but like I am for sure the best like strategist and teammate in doubles right now. And like when that big like clutch moment came, I was like, oh, like this is the fruits of my labor. Like this is incredible. This is the best thing I've ever experienced in my life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's really sick. I did not even damn, I don't even did I commentate that? I might have.
No, that's a Crimson Blur magnum opus, if I do say so myself.
Let's go.
Yay. Another one under the Blur's belt.
That's right. That's who really deserves all the,
The Blur, I gotta say, he's got an eclectic portfolio of doubles magical sets that he has commentated.
Yeah, that I think is totally true. And if this is the tournament I'm thinking, then this is also the tournament that Blur wore a really crazy suit, because they were trying to do like an analyst desk kind of thing in between the singles top 8, and Blur was wearing this crazy suit where he looked like he was like a mob boss. It was insane. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure who his co-commentator is. That's how I apologize if
that's how much
the co-commentator. Yeah, it's just 10 out of 10 performance from Blur, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Blur's very happy to hear that.
I actually ran into Blur on Unranked like last Thursday.
And he taught you things, right?
Oh yeah, I learned so much. It was magical. But no, it was great.
Dude, good to hear that.
Yeah, that is I Blur is one of my favorite people to run into, and I love that he's very unabashed about it. Everyone knows he's in my prime, and yeah, I think he's a good-natured citizen of Unranked, as it were.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to remind people, we've actually got a bunch of questions submitted already, but for anybody who wants to submit a question, especially any of you that missed last week, please do use !Radio Melee in my chat or PP's. I'll even do it in mine right now just to
let them know.
Click on it. Yeah, just hop in the Discord, react to the README, and roll assign channels to get speaking permissions, and then you can just ask whatever you want to ask and submit topics here, and you're very likely to talk to us live on air. And if you're one of the YouTube listeners or the podcast audio listeners, remember that you can come by any Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and kind of catch us in here, and you'll get to talk to us, because always cool meeting I feel like I've been meeting a lot of Radio Mail listeners at tournaments recently.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, always a pleasure. Should we get into the community voice from last week real quick before we get into some callers?
Sure.
Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up.
Our community voice was from Salt. And
Yes.
feel free to weigh in here or not, PewPewU, as we go through it.
Okay.
But Salt's question was basically a really profound one, or a really deep one. She was asking, "Why are we here? What that was."
Oh yeah, why are we here?
Yeah. And so, Isseria Do, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, said here, I'm here to integrate a symbiotic, mutualistic approach to resource management in networks so that a higher percent of consciousness can have greater accessibility to accomplishing pro-social behaviors to enable an era of hyper-abundance. I also appreciate getting to work for justice, make art, and play Marvel. I really find the insights from GG Melee wonderful and appreciate the dynamic that the three of you had this session. Thank you for sharing the wisdom of your experiences with the greater community.
Real lyrical miracle stuff at the start there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. There were a lot of multisyllabic words, so
I'm sure some of them meant things.
Yeah, I
like the part about playing Marvel.
I mean, it did sound really nice, and it did feel very, very from the heart, and so I appreciate the message a lot. Even if I don't fully understand it, the meaning is felt.
Yes. Yeah, 1000%. And we got Sativa. By the way, Sativa did call. Steve is a buddy who lives in Texas, and Sativa did call that Salt was actually going to win LTC.
Oh.
And ended up being correct about that.
Call.
So cool. Good call on that one. Good call on that one. Sativa saying, here to make friends, have a good time. Never really had that competitive drive in the way of wanting to get better than other people. Just wanting to get better at playing the game itself. And as a trans person, it feels like there's not too many spaces where I'm 100% welcome with open arms. And the DFW melee scene has been an amazing place to go to be myself in public with real life people. It's crazy. Go to locals, make friends. Dude, yeah. DFW is actually, I went to a local in DFW like 10 years ago, and it was actually a really good time. This was back when, I don't know who was there. Tierno and Ark. I played Ark.
Oh, shout out to Ark. That guy. Yeah, that guy's a wizard.
Yeah, that guy, the original pivot force guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ark can tell you
coming from you.
Fast like tree.
Really? I didn't even know that. That's dope. Okay. I'm also a big Fast Like Tree fan. I don't know much about Fast Like Tree, but it's always been one of my absolute top favorite gamer tags.
Yeah.
So
and the tree grab.
The tree grab.
Beautiful
tree grab is really good. Beautiful technique. Tree grab is really good. So yeah, a lot of lore coming out of Texas. Salt, I suppose, the latest iteration of that. But yeah, shout out to Texas. And yeah, let's get into some callers for the episode. I suppose, because we got a bunch. We do have a bunch of people. A couple questions that I think people are dying to ask. So we can get our first caller in, and it looks like it's going to be, is that Ifu?
Yeah, it's Ifu. Yeah.
Ifu, welcome to the program. Yeah, where are you calling from? What do you got for us?
I'm from I'm a Slippy kid from Portland, Maine. All the way.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
The other Portland. I've been to that Portland, actually. Portland.
Portland, Maine? We're not talking Oregon? Okay.
I'm in Oregon, yeah. I'm not from
there. Interesting. Never heard of this place.
Yeah.
I've been there, so I have heard of it, but go on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually, I don't know why. I feel like this is like the first Portland, but for some reason, the second Portland gets way more mentioned, like, ever. So.
Off.
What are you going to do?
Hi Toph, hi PP again.
Hello.
Hi PewPewU.
What's up, man?
Since like the Marth doubles god is here, I just like want to ask you, like, how good do you think Marth is actually like in teams? And I'm not like a Marth player, but like I would like to know, like, how good do you think like Falco Marth is in teams? Because like I play Falco, so like, and I have like Marth friends, I play with sometimes. So like, yeah, that's basically my question. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with the first bit. How good do I think Marth is in teams? I'll go ahead and I'll say I think he is not a top 5 character, and I can say this from a more comfortable place now that I'm not competing, because people just think it's copium if I were to say that, especially after like losing a tournament. But when I think about the doubles tier list, there's an easy, like, to me, there's easy, like, Fox and Sheik are the best. And then after that, Peach, Jigglypuff, Falco. Or Falco, then Jigglypuff. I think Jigglypuff is 5th. And then, there's an argument that Falcon is better than Marth as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets tough from there because there's even an argument that Pikachu could be better. They just all fulfill like very different roles. And obviously, like Marth is capable of winning doubles tournaments.
Clearly,
and that's just how it goes. The thing that I think is limiting it, which kind of goes into your next question, is that I think Marth's teammates that he can succeed with at a top level is, there's not a lot of characters. Best one that you can have is obviously Fox. Second best one that you can have, in my opinion, is Sheik. Probably the third best one is Falco that you were talking about.
Oh, really?
Marth like really struggles to be able to like get a kill without kind of walking someone to the edge. And like the characters that are good at like cornering people are like those three characters that I named. So as Falco, if you have Marth friends, I think a good thing for you to focus on is you can be the center stage guy, kind of control things, maybe from the top platform, maybe with some lasers, and be, Marth have him be both corners. That's something that Zach and I would always do. Zach is the controlling of the center, and I'm playing both corners the moment that, it gets opened up. So I hope that answers your question.
Having played you and SFAT in doubles a couple times, I remember feeling like you were extremely slippery. You would go from corner to corner. And I felt like you were very good at identifying when people were kind of targeting you and kind of like baiting them. Is this
right? Definitely.
Okay, that had to have been intentional because I always felt like the way that every other Marth, and I still honestly feel this way. Tell me if I'm talking out of my ass here. I felt like most Marths in doubles focus on things that feel like obvious strengths, like, well, there's many opponents, and Marth has a lot of range because he has a big sword, so he can hit. He can cover a lot of space with his sword, and potentially swat the opponents out of the air or whatever. But I felt like what you would often really emphasize is obviously you would do that stuff, and you'd be good at it, but also like I felt like you were very good at identifying Marth's weaknesses, which are that he can be kind of bullied to the stage and even off the stage and kind of gimped. And you were really good at kind of like identifying, okay, the opponents are hunting me, and you would just be impossible to catch. Yeah. And it was very frustrating. It was very, very frustrating.
Yeah. So this is all like a very intentional strategy. Like, essentially the best way to think about this is like, Marth is not like, this is a basketball term. Marth is not like a downhill character. So when you think about it, let's say we're on FD and, two red team players on the left, two blue team players on the right, and Marth is in front, and he gets the opening on the guy in front. When Marth has to push forward and kind of bully through two people, he's not as effective as like Falco, Fox, Peach, Sheik even, So like, sure, it can be good to win neutral and push the advantage, but like when you're really like going downhill and pushing that advantage, like he's actually not the guy. And so a lot of times it's better for me to kind of get my good hit, swap places with my Fox, and the moment that like the chaos starts to ensue, that's when you step in and you're not the one who's trying to crack it open when you've already like made a little crack in the neutral. So that's just
it's almost like a three-step process. It's like the first step is like, you go and you build a little bit and you kind of open things up a little bit, but then Fox is going to come in and he's really going to blow it open and make it. And then once it's completely open, now you're in control and you don't have to worry about bad things happening. So now you're just going to go in and you're in it to win it.
Yeah. One of the best scenarios that Zach and I can create is like, I win, same scenario. I'm in front. I win neutral and I hit some guy off stage. There's still the other homie. Zach steps in, starts some chaos, and now there's a Fox who's pressuring two people, and I'm just like like waiting for a roll in, waiting for a jump to the platform. I'm like just making sure that all the pressure is there. And the moment we get like a meaningful hit, I'm just like I'm gunning it off stage. Like I'm full going, you know? And like that was like our bread and butter like formation.
And Marth's good at that.
Yeah, and you know, for Yifu, I think I think Marth and Falco can apply a very similar dynamic. Like it's so hard for players to get out of the corner against Falco, like even if there's two of them. And like I think the weakness of Falco is when people get on a side platform above him, he can't like do a full hop and like shut him out, and Marth can like totally fill those shoes and you know, make sure that the formation is like seamless.
I'm curious if you could summarize it, if you think the summarization is fair, PPU, because when I would try Marth in teams a little bit, I sort of had some of the same feelings you did, obviously not to the same extent, but I sort of just felt like Marth felt more like a support character in teams. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he can only play the support role. Whereas, like, Falco, in my eyes, is more of a support character, but he can also be, like, the aggressor. But I think Marth is completely siloed to that role. And so, like, if you ever see two Marths on a team, it's a disaster.
Two Marths, yeah. Two Marths just doesn't sound good.
Yeah, Kodorin and some homie did it at Tipped Off this past week, and I watched
that sounds like
games.
a homie team. Yeah, that sounds like
it is a homie team.
Your team with your homie, you know.
That's like a struggle to get out of round 2 pools with the homie, but you know, we're still having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. How good if you entered a doubles major with Zane and you had full creative control of what the team did at a macro level?
Oh.
How good could you do?
Do we have 1 day of practice before the major?
1 day of practice. You have
okay, 1 day of practice. Okay, that's a better.
Zane I don't know what happened. Zane went to this tournament to play doubles.
Oh wow. So I'll just say straight up,
you have to go double Marth. You can't pop out. You have to go double Marth.
We're not beating Ecstatic. We're not beating Plup and Hungry Box, and we're sure as shit not beating Cody and Jmook. Those 3 teams are likely impossible. But like, if like all the good players are in attendance, like Zane and I we could sneak a 5th in there. It just depends on who we play in the top 8. But like, I think we're pretty locked for top 8. The only issue is like, I don't know. I think like, well, whatchamacallit? Asian Chic player, East Coast, beat Armada.
Swedish?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
He's not in attendance, and I don't know who the good like double Sheiks are. If we ran into a good double Sheik, it's curtains. Like it's absolute curtains. But yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Good double Sheik for sure. The other thing is like regardless of who I'm teaming with, I truly don't believe I am in playing shape to beat Cody or Jmook in a 1v1. And so like even if I'm teaming with Mango, like I think I would struggle.
I see. But you know, at the same time, we're giving Zane a little bit of practice. We're also assuming you're not going in, you know, with no prep. You know, you're taking a little bit of time. You know, but
well, I'm in like the best playing shape I've been in like 3 years because I you know was playing for the NorCal Classic, and then you know I've kind of just kept playing.
Yeah. So that's something. It's definitely something.
We'll save grace.
Yeah. I really appreciate the question, Yifu. I really like talking about this sort of thing because there's not much content about it. You know, I think people who are curious about this sort of thing, there's no real way to like look up a doubles tier list. It's never really existed. And then
it also makes me happy that you said you're a Slippy kid and you're asking me about teams because like my impression of Slippy kids, like they do not play teams, you know, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, according to one of my Stacy's stepdad, he said that I'm a Slippy man because I go to tournaments.
Wow, Slippy man. Yeah, I like that.
So,
I like that.
True. It's funny though. But yeah.
Well, hey, thank you for your question. You got any shout outs for us on your way out today?
Yeah, I do. shout out to well, I do want to I love all three of you. So like, I shout out to Toph. I think you're
Thank you.
like one of the greatest commentator. You're like I think you're like the griot of Melee. You're like a storyteller, and like that's like amazing storyteller of the game, and like really good at commentator.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to PP. I think you're one of the coolest Falcos like ever exist. And
Thank
like,
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, same with Marth and Bowser.
Oh, please. We are on a GG channel. We have to talk about the Bowser. I think that's contractual at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, PewPewU, you're like one of the coolest Marth like ever touch a controller, in singles and doubles, and same with like together with PP. I think Zhang needs to like every Thanksgiving, Zane needs to like write you to something, because like without you two, like Zane wouldn't have that much resource to get like where he is, like no like he's a great player, no offense, so and yeah, shout out to shout out to main Melee, shout out to New England, the region, and like our best player is a Marth player, his Calvar, so
Mm.
Tech Chase God.
yeah, sure. Yeah, David definitely is. So yeah, shout out to him, and shout out to shout out to my Marth friends, TK, Dr. Lame, like Calvar too, so like shout out to like my best friend Bumper, like he got me into the game, so
Shoutouts.
Shoutouts.
yeah, so yeah, thank you for having me. And oh, actually, well, one last thing is I hope Kevin Toy comes back to competitive Melee one day. That'd be really cool. I guess that's my bonus. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Take care, man. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you so
Good one.
much.
Yeah, take care. See ya.
All right. Yeah, cool
What a nice
question.
lad.
What a nice lad. Yeah, Portland, Maine. They've got some classy people out there.
Mm-hmm.
They got like one mall. I went to the mall briefly. It's smaller than Portland, Oregon, but came first, so that got to count for something.
It does. And speaking of counting, we have our second caller in here. Look at me trying to do a segue. I'm really trying, man. I've been doing.
No, that was good. That was a good one.
Thank you. We got
Fried rice.
What's up? Welcome to the show. Where are you calling in from? What's your question for us today, gamer?
Hey, thank you for welcoming me. I'm calling from North Jersey. So yeah, I just wanted to ask. Tip-off 14 just concluded recently, and one of the big discussions was about the commentary and like people's critique about it. So the main thing I just want to ask is like, what is considered to you guys good commentary versus bad commentary? And well, I know the discussion was about like the volume of the commentary. One direction I want to go to was just about the role of bias in it. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Because for me,
oh man, bias.
I feel like bias is actually not a bad thing to have. Like as long as you're aware of it and like you don't trend into the territory of delusion, like saying like, oh, in the finals,
delusion.
Zhang just played Marth and like he literally just BS his way into the victory, like something like that. I think is silly, but like having a preference towards one player or another, I think is okay.
Yeah, you never want to you don't want to be a Debbie Downer about it, right? You don't want to exclude, because I think the purpose of commentary is you should try to include people and get them hyped. So if you're saying that someone's playing really well and you're cheering for somebody because they're from your region, or maybe it's a tournament where they're doing really well for the first time and it's the brand, and like the story is clear. J-Mook at Genesis 8 was a great example of this. I think if you listen to the commentators, myself included, are all very excited for this fresh face. And I think that reflected the energy of the crowd. And I don't think it was a surprise to anybody that a lot of people were like, holy shit, what is going on? No one's, this guy's never performed at this level, and this is very exciting. And, you almost, I think in an instance like that, want to be a little biased. Otherwise, you're not being honest. Because I think most people in the room were very excited about that. It's like, holy shit, what is this shit? This is crazy. This is new. But, you don't want to be a Debbie Downer about it. You don't want to be biased in the way, like you said, where you're discrediting somebody, or because that person has fans too, and they're probably listening to the commentary. And I haven't always been the best about this through my career. I've tried to do better as I've grown and matured. But yeah, you don't want to be like, you don't want to be saying things where there's the fan base of that player. They're thinking like, oh, this is lame. Like my guy's doing all this cool stuff and he doesn't care about it. You know what I mean? Because that's going to turn people off. But that's my take on that. But
I,
yeah, what do
I
you think,
hella
PPU?
agree. I super agree with you. I also like mainly the part where you're talking about like all the commentary should be like adding on to what you're seeing and not taking away. And I think like a big thing that a lot of people, a lot of viewers, not the commentators, a lot of things that the viewers will kind of fall into is like, they hear one bad thing a commentator says and then they've got like a sour taste in their mouth and they're watching through, this filter of like, I'm waiting for this commentator to fuck up again, and like a lot of times what happens, and I didn't actually listen to the commentary, I saw like all the discourse and it makes me sad. But something a lot of people had an issue with was like the yelling and things like that. I love that stuff personally. I am deeply in love with it because it also just shows like, how hype this is. I think like where it can get confusing or where it can get like unsettling is like if the commentator is like far more hype than the people in the room, something like that. But to me it sounded like the tipped off crowd was matching that energy and like he was just the one to bring it to the viewers and bring it home to everyone. So, I think it's a little unfair.
Yeah, I kind of feel, and it's funny. It's funny people are talking about this with regards to I don't know why. Jorge. I kept wanting to say Eric, but his name isn't George. It's actually Eric. But Jorge, where people were saying I was yelling and stuff like this. Well, it was funny because that happened at Tipped Off, but I think the previous weekend was 2 weekends. I guess it was 2 weekends ago because I was a comp breaker. But at Battle of BC, because I was yelling a lot at Battle of BC, and apparently, because I saw some of the Melee Stats guys at me, and they were like, Toph is clearly smoking that good ganja, and there were also a lot of people saying that Toph might be drunk or something. And that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. And I was kind of doing that. I was yelling a lot and getting like very excited at Battle of BC. Despite basically being sober. And so everyone was kind of wrong about that.
Just basically being sober, not fully sober, just basically.
Yeah, well, I'm never, fully sober. I'm always a little bit high on life, But no, point is, I hadn't been to a tournament like 5 months at that point, and I was telling Vish like how excited I was to be at a tournament again because I hadn't traveled in 5 months. I hadn't been to a tournament since Genesis. And what I kind of have come to realize in my decade plus of commentating is that if people are talking about your commentary like that, like it's honestly mostly just a good thing. It's I think way better to be memorable in any way, shape, or form than to not be memorable at all. It almost like I think it from a practical basis, like what I would say to Jorge if he was here was like, dude, there's just like it for sure added to the tournament experience for the viewers much more than, like there's always going to be some vocal minority out of the tens of thousands of people or whatever that are in the Twitch chat that are saying their piece, but there's usually like a whole chunk of people that are too lazy. They're not going to type anything, and they're just like, oh, this is kind of a vibe. And you got to remember that, like, shit like this. Like for me, the Battle of BC thing that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and people have kind of already forgotten about that in favor of whatever the latest thing was. But this shit tides over really quickly, so I think it makes a lot more sense to do something memorable that might actually like stick out and get remembered. Because the bad press or whatever you want to call it is going to be, people will forget about that within a matter of days anyway. So, kind of how I feel.
Why does Slime catch a stray every time bad commentary is brought up?
What happened this time?
I don't know, man. People are just I think
Slime.
Someone added Slime.
Jojo added him.
Who?
Right.
Jojo?
Yes, from New York.
That's funny. I'll have to look at that. Well, I think it used to. I haven't not seen the latest round of drama. I don't know, but I will say that Slime used to engage. You know how Slime is on Twitter. Slime engages with.
Yes.
So people tweet at Slime because they know they will get a response. I don't really. If people tweeted me, I don't really respond anymore.
Yeah.
If it's that kind of thing. So I think with Slime, he engages with it, and my theory is he secretly likes it. Maybe not so secretly. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep doing it. So I think with Slime, as the person engaging with him, you kind of know what you're going to get, which is he's either going to say something, funny and angry, or he'll just block you. And I think people are down for that. And then I think Slime's kind of down to be that person. Otherwise, he would have stopped being that person. So I think it's this symbiotic kind of thing, That being said, I do got to shout out Slime because at Battle of BC on Saturday, we had a commentary block that was not top 8, but it was top 48 or 60, the round before top 8, right? Like all the good player matches that aren't top 8. And I think we fucking killed it so hardcore. And we got up from after that commentary block, and Slime looked at me and he was like, dude, that might have been like the best commentary block that like I've ever done or been a part of. And I was like, dude, yeah, like actually we were fucking on one. And it's like, it was kind of like the thing that you were saying where like sometimes you just know you're playing fucking hot. You're like flow state. Like you kind of get that with commentary too somewhat. And we were just like, no, that was actually fucking flames, dude. We got into the weeds just talking about random shit. I mean, it was fucking phenomenal. So if anyone's hating on Slime, again, I have no idea what it's about, but you should go watch our commentary for Battle BC because I think we fucking killed it. And we both think we killed it. So yeah,
really
go check that
vlog.
out. Yo, you watch it? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were talking about all kinds of just random shit, like with regards to Melee, but we were getting into it, I don't know, just matchups and player history, and we're talking about different types of, different players having different personality, and Slime's down to talk about shit because he's like a podcast guy, right? So it was kind of like talking with Scar in a way when I commentate with Scar, but like different because Slime's very different than Scar, but similar because they're both down to bitch about Sheik because they're Falcon players. So, so a lot of similarities there.
Did you guys play in polls before you guys commentated together? I don't know if that
We did. Yeah, we played in round, I guess there's 2 of the bracket. I got a bye, and Slime, we did play on stream, which was very funny. Yeah, we did play on stream before our commentary block. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that made our commentary block better or worse.
I like to think it might have, but
maybe it made it better. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it was it was a fine set. He missed all his tech chases and SD'd like 3 times. It was I just did Fox stuff, whatever. Yeah, TLDR. But thank you for the question, Fried Rice. I don't know if there's anything else that either of you Kevin's wanted to kind of add on, but
not really. I am. You are by far the best equipped to answer commentator related questions. I more so just watch and enjoy.
Yeah, but that's most people, and that's my whole point: is that most people just watch and enjoy.
It's true. It's true.
You got to remember that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's really easy to be a commentator because like you can't really fail. As a player, you lose a match.
Really,
like,
you feel that way? I think it's so much.
Ways it's right. In some ways, it's hard. In some ways, it's hard because people are judging you and all this stuff.
Yes.
But on the flip side, if you don't really give a fuck, which I've gotten to the point where I don't really give a fuck, then it's really easy because you can't really fail unless you feel like you failed. I've gotten to the point because I've commentated for 10 years and I have my own set of standards for myself where at the end of the day, the only person who can tell me I failed is me. And people can say things about my commentary and I can go, actually disagree with that. I've been doing it for long enough that I don't think you're right on this one. And I think that it's important to have a strong set of standards for yourself no matter what you're doing. And once you've gotten to that point as a commentator, the nice thing is you can't really fail anymore. As a player, you can always fail because, well, you play someone who beats you. You're always going to lose. Like that'll always happen. And so in some ways, I think it is tough being a commentator because people will complain about you in an undue manner. But the bright side is that the silver lining or the light at the end of the tunnel is once you've kind of taken all the criticism that you need to get as good at it as you want to be, then I think you can really become your own harshest critic, and I think that's a really good place to be because then you're not so torn up when people say mean things about you every now and then. That's kind of what I would tell aspiring commentators, I suppose.
Yeah, that's good. Like I think if I were to get into commentary, like I would very much fear opening up my phone after my commentary block. You know,
It was really
And-
hard at first. It was really, really hard at first. The
I'm
first couple
sure
months,
it was,
first
dude.
couple years were hard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird thing. And that's the other shitty part about it is like the shit that they won't let you, the shit that sucks. I think the shit that's really tough is that the things people let you get away with when you've been doing it for a long time and you're a familiar voice. Like I get away with so much. Like at Battle of BC, it was like haha Toph's drunk or haha Toph's high. You know, they weren't like mad about it, you know, versus like Jorge, he hasn't commentated as much. People are like, what, you know, what is this? You know, but
Right.
if we traded amount of time put in at majors, you know, it's nothing to do with, it's just you're familiar and people feel like they know you. So they give you a break,
You know
which is really unfair.
You know who, in my opinion, got the worst end of all that is all of the Smash 4/ult commentators that were doing Melee were held to the shittiest, highest standard.
Agreed.
Like, it
Agreed.
was so bad, dude. And I love their commentary. Like,
Me too.
Like, I love a good TK block. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff is amazing. I'm so sad that like the Melee like talking heads of the online world kind of just like ousted them. And I think that is like the shittiest thing that we've done to commentators.
Really lame. It was really lame.
So
Yeah, there was a
lame,
tournament where TK, in particular, I remember he was on Melee, and I thought he was doing a phenomenal job, and he like didn't want to do it like halfway through it because he's like, dude, people are being really mean, and it's like, why? Like, I don't have to deal with this shit. You know, I've got a community that loves me. You know, fuck this, fuck all this, getting all this hate. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Because he knew what he was talking about. I mean, they'd commentated PM for years. If you can commentate PM, you know, the Melee characters are doing the same, you know, Fox and Marth are doing what they do in Melee. They do the same thing in PM. If you commentate PM, you commentate Melee. So to me, it didn't make any sense. But totally feel that. Totally feel that. But yeah, Fried Rice, if you want to do any shout outs on your way out, thank you for your question.
Yeah,
and the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out all three of you actually. Appreciate the content you guys make, and
Thank you.
been a long time viewer, first time caller for this, so it's a good experience. Yeah, and then also enjoyed the PewPewU University video you recently released as well.
Me too. I did enjoy that one.
Good,
That was
good,
a nice
man.
one.
I got another one coming on the way, so hopefully you
Okay.
can enjoy that one as well.
Sounds good.
Oh
And
my
then,
god.
Yeah, sorry. One last shout out to June, a good friend of mine. Really happy that the Golden Guardians League of Legends team did so well this last split. So congrats to her and the team. And yeah, that's it. For me.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Gentlemen, I must step away to use the bathroom. I'm gonna mute myself and be a courteous gamer. But you know,
Okay, do
feel
it.
free to bring in the next guy.
We will bring in the next guy as you go do that. All right.
right.
Yeah, we definitely have time, I think, for at least one more caller, and it looks like it is going to be Pseudo Lock. Welcome to the program, Pseudo Lock, and what you got for us today?
Howdy, so happy to be here. So my question is about player colors. In the past, there's been a lot of beef over character colors. Certain players feel ownership over their color. But in current year, do you really feel like there's a place for that? There's so many amazing players, like, and some people. I mean, Pikachu's only got like 4 colors. Come on.
Yeah. Fox and Falco have only 4 colors. What's up with that? They're so common. They're the characters that need more. Well, Yoshi's got like 6 colors. It's like, are there even Yoshi players that are filling up some of those colors? Here's the thing. At Combo Breaker, I had to play Albert, not the Falco Albert, but the other Albert that's always in Twitch chat, Albert 9999999, to get out of pools. And Albert said to me, "Wow, I have to play another color Fox because we're going to play on stream." Albert's was like, "I have to give you Green Fox." And I had this whole moment because I had decided to myself, perhaps prematurely, I had decided to myself that I would play more White Fox that tournament because I felt like, I mean, PB, you're one of these people that you believe in the whole color thing, right?
Yep.
You believe that you're going to play a little bit different, even subconsciously. Yeah. So I decided I needed to start playing more White Fox. I wanted to play a little bit more whiff punishy. I wanted to play a little bit more simple and balanced. I wanted to play a little bit less emphasis on tech skill, especially because my controller was, I had a brand new FOB 2.0. I was still getting used to it. I didn't want to try to emphasize tech skill, blah, blah, blah. So I decided I was going to play White Fox more that tournament. And Albert says to me, "Oh, I got to give you Green Fox when we play on tournament, our tournament set on stream." And I was like, "Well, now that you're giving me Green Fox, I guess I have to play Green Fox because, like, you're making it a thing now." And I resound with this because I don't know if you ever heard my piece, but whenever I play Cactuar or Silent Wolf in tournament, I give them Green Fox because I feel like they were there first. So I kind of respected this, and I was like, well, if you're going to give me Green Fox, I'll play Green Fox. But this is all to say that I don't know if I would call that color beef. It wasn't really beef, it's more that he just gave me the color, but people do still seem to think about this thing. People do still seem to think about colors. PPU, the question is basically, do you feel like there's a place for color beef or color ownership? There's so many more players now than there ever have been. Does it still make sense? What's your take on it? And it's cool that we have you on for this because if I remember correctly, Kevin, you were once paid a handsome sum, right? Am I making this up?
$1,000, maybe $2,000.
It's a lot of money to play White Marth for how long?
Wow.
Like 3 months? A couple months?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was for like I'm Not Yelling or something.
Okay.
Which was like an iconic performance from me, and I was like oddly on White Marth. But okay. I talked about this subject recently on John Coe's stream.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
And yes, my answer is yes. There's absolutely a place for color beef. There's color ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You can play for the color too. Four Leaf Mango and PewFat did a best of 5 drunkenly after a summit for blue. We ended up winning 3-1. We have blue for life. Even though they are the more senior and more OG, I think that's the general rule, but you can also play for it.
Yeah.
And like if I were to sit down with PP right now, I'm giving him blue. Even though like I started Marth before him, I would still give him blue. But also, if you insisted that I'll take blue, I'm not going to argue. That's a coin toss one. But like
last time we played, I picked green. I didn't want to deal with the whole because I didn't want there to be like a dominance where like I gotta be like it's
but
not.
See, even in picking green, PP, wouldn't you have to admit that even in having that thought, you've already engaged in the color?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I have.
See?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned John Coe. PP, I don't know if you caught this. I made a video like a year ago about Green Marth and what Green Marth players are like, and it was about how Green Marth play kind of weird.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had a thing where I went on unranked and I played Green Marth and I kept trying to do weird options like bear and neutral and stuff.
I remember this. And
the funniest part was all of the Green Marths I know. So Rishi, Cactuar, and John Coe all messaged me. They all somehow saw this video and they were all like, dude, great video, man. Yeah, us Green Marths, we're so weird. And I was like, that was all the validation I needed. Like all of them hit me up and they were like, they're like, yeah, great video, dude. Yeah, this is what we're like.
There's some underground Green Marth resistance. I guess they think they're neat, huh? I didn't know this.
They do think this clearly because they all the Green Marths I know messaged me and they were all like that.
Every Green Marth is extremely just strange. Weird. I don't know. There's something off about them. I'm not saying that they're bad, but there's something weird going on.
I mean, perfect example. I remember one time I found a video. It was Isaiah's Marth back in the day, and he was playing Green Marth.
Yeah,
he played green. What other characters does he play green on? Like none of them. So there you go. It's not that he likes
green.
He played Green Marth. Yeah, he played Green Marth. Yeah, even knows. See, you're making. I'm telling you. There's something.
I thought As was a blue Marth.
No. Isaiah. Sorry, Isaiah.
As did pick Green Marth a couple times, but yeah.
Okay.
Mostly blue.
Okay.
Mostly blue. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's totally a thing, and I think it's especially a thing. In like it's even a thing in other fighting games where there are more colors. And so like in other fighting games, you really don't need to like new fighting games. You got costumes and 10 colors and 10 colors per costume. So in Melee, of course, it's going to be a big deal where there's like 4 colors per character. It's such a. I think it's really funny how badly they balance out like colors per character relative to how much usage those characters got. like how Fox
Yeah.
and Falco, who are like the most common characters, like they only have 4 colors, which is the minimum per character. And it's just like, and there's like 6 Yoshis and 6 Roys or whatever. Like Roy's got 2 blue skins. It's like, does Roy need 2 blue skins? Like,
I
why
like
does-
I like
why
all
does
of Roy's colors.
I love all. Oh, Roy's got the best colors.
Roy's got
bro.
He's got the trim. The trim looks so damn good.
The trim looks so good. Yeah, dude.
On this color beef and
Yeah.
things like that, on Slippy, if I'm playing Blue Marth, I will not switch off for anyone. So if it's another Blue Marth, I am not switching off. Like it is your job. I'm the senior player.
Yeah.
I've accomplished more than you, and I'm doper. You must switch, and
Yeah,
that's kind of it. Literally, unless I run into PP, I think you are the only person. If we somehow match up on Slippy, that I'd switch off for.
We could do the fun thing where we quit out and then we both switch and then we keep doing it.
No. Someone has to have it.
Someone has to be blue. I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you? Well, for me, I definitely enforce that if I'm playing as Toph. But if I'm like smurfing and they don't know who I am, then my rule is like, if I run into a green fox and we're fox to doing, if I lose, I'll switch. Because then it's like, well, you won. If you won, but dude, I get these people that we green fox ditto, and I win, and then they stay green, and I'm like, okay, and you know who I am because my name's Toph, and then we play like 2 friendlies, you're still not switching. I'm just like, dude, I can't play you anymore. Like, come on, dude. Like, what is this?
If the green Marth is a bunch of strange playstyles, the green fox is like the tech monsters. Agreed.
These days, especially, yeah. There was a period where
Cody did bring on, yeah, and then there's the neutral Leffins. But I think before all that, any fox coming out of Washington or like Pacific Northwest, green, they're hitting their shine turnaround grabs and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's changed a lot over the years because I remember a time when Red Falco was boring and lame and campy. Because this was pre-Westball, so Red Falco was. Hey, I hate to do this to you, Justin, but Red Falco was the Falchemist, and people didn't like Red Falco. People thought Red Falco was boring and lame and campy. It's okay. He found his success in other fighting games.
Shout out to my sensei, Falchemist.
And you know this to be true too. You remember Red Falco was lame for a time. Yeah. So
yeah. Now I play Red Falco.
Yeah. Now Red Falco's cool.
Yeah.
White Fox was really lame for a time when I was getting into Melee. I think I've told this story once or twice, but when I met PC Chris in 08, I asked PC, like, what color do you even play? Because he was kind of cycling between red and blue and even sometimes green. And he was like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I play all the Fox colors except for White Fox. White Fox will always be fucking ugly because of Chillin' Dude. And I was like, and I didn't know Chillin' back then. Wow. So I was like, ouch. It was like, ouch, dude. And I think I told Chillin' this years later, and Chillin' was like, he's like, that son of a bitch. Yeah, and now White's like the cool, like, like.
I don't think it's cool. I know that shit is whack.
No, okay, well, but not ugly. Let's put it that way.
I think it's ugly.
Okay.
I'm invoking the right of PC Chris. That shit is ugly.
It's more associated with Leffin now than Chillin is the thing that I think has changed. I guess for good reason because there was a whole money match about it. Speaking of color beef,
right?
Yeah, and that was a whole arc. But shout outs to Chillin. We love you around these parts, obviously. I think it'll be a thing forever. I just think, in any,
I hope so.
In any, like. Anytime, people have to decide on this sort of thing and it might have to be settled by RPS or something, people are going to have opinions about it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think, in a game where I think expression is so important, I think having that costume, that extra identifier is also cool, especially because when you're playing on Slippy, you no longer use the in-game tag that's above your head like we had, when we played exclusively on LAN, right? Where we had Mango's box tag and everything else. So now I think the colors are one of the best ways to identify ourselves. And not everyone does it. Some people like Mango will cycle through various Falco colors, and BBB kind of does the same thing, for example. But some people stick to one, and I think that associating with that is just a fun thing. So It doesn't usually lead to beef because usually someone like there are only so many top players of a certain character, or even if there are so many, like there's hierarchies and seniority and everything like we talked about. So you don't usually see the beef too much, but yeah, I guess you could have a drunken friendly after or drunken set after a tournament to determine forever. Sure, that sounds kind of hype. I think streaming that kind of stuff would be good for Melee because you don't see those kind of things anymore, right? Like Gentleman was called Gentleman because Isaiah and Gentleman tried to see who could do the technique more, and Gentleman did more. So I think that kind of stuff is just really cool for the game, and so more of that would be cool to see.
Also, apparently, when they did the Gentleman, they didn't do it on a shield or a body. They did it out in the air.
Really raw.
And you guys,
No
both you guys
way.
know, and it's so much harder to hit a Gentleman
It's
when
so
you're
much
whiffing.
harder.
So hard.
Unless you're doing the really slow one. You know what, the slow ass Gentleman? That's the only way I can do air Gentlemen.
I don't think they were doing that. That's my guess.
They must not have been. Yeah, because that's not. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I know. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But they probably want to do that.
I also call Link's non-rapid third hit of jab Gentleman.
Did you know that in the Ultimate community they call because there's two types of whatever jab
3.
Yeah. There's two types of jab 3s. There's rapid jabs where you right, and then there's Gentlemen's, and they call them that. Some characters have both, like how Link has both. Some characters have both. Like I play Inkling. If you mash A, you get the rapid jabs, but if you hold it, you get the Gentleman, and the third kick is just a kick. Yeah. So that vernacular has persisted across time, which I think
love
is
that.
Beautiful and charming. Yeah. I want it to continue forever.
Yeah, well, I think, good discussion all around, fun topics. And really quickly, I just realized while I was thinking about this, for anyone that doesn't know what I was just talking about with the box tag, when you play on land,
you gotta know.
For you Slippy kids that might not have understood the reference I made.
Oh, they might not even know that you can wear tags.
Right. So if you click, there's a little box below your Let me do this real quick. There's a little box below your name on the character select screen. You can press it, and you can open up a menu to input a name of 4 characters or less. You can also use symbols, and you can have that above your head. And some people use that as an identifier as well. And Mango made a little box for one of his. Like, he used symbols to do that. Armada had AR, so on and so on. I used PPMD. And so, the people did that back then. And so that was an identifier, but we don't have that in Slippy. I'm not entirely. Well, I think we use that space for the code, so we can't use that for the name entry, I guess. But anyway, wanted to clarify that. Regardless, thank you, Pseudo Luck, for your question. Really fun discussion. Do you have any shout outs for us today on your way out?
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to say before I give the shout out, Toph, this question was inspired by your salty player video, the one about how salty is an average Smash player,
and how some characters are saltier based on
and different colors as well. Yeah.
Who did I say was the saltiest? Because it's changed. I think it's changed.
I don't know. That was a year ago.
Okay,
I think you said the Green Falcos were the saltiest. I remember people talking about that.
I'm sorry about that. PP.
Uh-oh.
I don't think they were the saltiest back in your day, PP. If that helps you out.
All right, fair enough. Works for me.
I just wanted to give out a shout out to Toph. I hope King of the Cube returns, and I'm really enjoying the reads. I want to shout out PPMD, who is looking for more people to coach. Check out Patreon/PPMD.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good plug.
Shout out to PewPewU. You were one of my favorite Marths to look at when I was trying to figure out how to beat him. Because you're so good, not that you're bad.
I got it. No worries.
We got there.
Shout out to my
You're saying when you were looking to beat Marth.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you got to look at a strong Oregon friends. Who are the Oregon
Alien, Purple Tooth, and Bird.
Oh my God! So this is the old school Oregon. These are the Oregon people that I know.
Yeah, but
Alien. You're talking about Alien Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's my sensei.
My God. Yeah, that's my era of Oregon. That is crazy. I did not know they were still around.
Oh, they're on unranked, but hopefully they'll compete someday. They're good. But thank you so much. I'll see you all some other day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much,
Later,
Nickelbox.
man.
Say hi to Bird and Purple Tooth and Alien for me.
I will do. Thanks.
All right.
See ya.
I think that's all our callers for the
Mhm.
program. PP, if you had anything else that you wanted to ask PewPewU before we got to depart, feel free. Otherwise, I guess we can kick it over and ask him for our community voice for next week.
Oh, you know what? I think we've had a good run of show. I think
Okay.
it's just time for the community voice. It's time for the question that only you can ask to the YouTube comments for us to discuss next time, PewPewU. It can be any sort of question you want, and it can be based on things we talked about today or otherwise.
Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
We didn't
So-
tell you before the show, admittedly.
Yeah.
So we are springing this on you.
We are
Okay.
springing this on you.
Okay. I wanted to ask a question about Eminem, but I don't want the comment section to get racist. I was gonna ask which Smashers look like listening to Eminem is part of their personality. Then they're all gonna say Bobby Big Balls, and they're gonna say a bunch of white Smashers. I don't really want that, so I'm gonna rescind that really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's valid.
That's pretty funny though.
This is tough. What's like a community? What was the community vote or voice that Salt did last?
It was why are you here? It was the very
Very
deep one.
open-ended.
But that one's not typical. Like, I mean, we get a lot of different ones. Like Polish asked, who would Elijah Wood main? So it really can be.
Oh, hell yeah.
This does not have to be the most serious thing. Like we get
Right.
You know, what's your favorite? What's your favorite local? What TO do you want to shout out? You know, whatever.
Okay, I got a good one.
Okay.
So currently on Golden Guardians, there's 4 players. Correct? There's you two, Brandon,
now.
and Amsa,
And still none. So that's fine.
shit. I'm so sorry. Okay. Community voice. I need all you guys in the comment section to let me know what each of the 5 players are on the D&D alignment chart and why.
Oh my god, what a good
And
I really want
next week, I hope you guys really get into it. I'll tune in. I really hope you guys really get into it. And you know, if you put like Amsa and Chaotic Evil, you better be able to back it up. You can even lie. You can even lie, and I think that's perfect.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I'm
really
gonna watch that
interested in this. That's a great. I'm really curious what people are going to think for me and for Amsa in particular.
Really, for Amsa, I don't want to influence the community, but I feel like how can you not put him in you know the good section?
Apparently he's been accused of hiding technology.
Oh my God.
People have crazy theories about. Well, remember there was that whole summit skit, which Swedish did link today. You know, where you know, you talk a lot, like there's always this perception of like, well, maybe he's just being polite because he you know, he's English second language. Who knows? So I'm really curious
True.
with crazy takes.
True.
Yeah.
I hope people lie. I want people to lie.
I hope people
but,
lie.
you know.
I do hope people lie.
Yeah. I want to see you in Chaotic Evil next week, PP.
All right.
So.
Well, I'll let you know how that experience is.
Okay, good.
I will not embody it, hopefully. Unless they convince me really well, then maybe I have to be in character for an episode. We'll see.
I'm really excited to see these.
Yeah.
Do I get to do shout outs? Can I shout out anybody?
Shout outs, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
First thing I want to say, I guess I'm kind of signal boosting myself, but I am extremely unemployed right now. And I would love to work in esports. I have a lot of work in project management and player management, as well as marketing. I've built out Smash teams and fighting game teams, and I'm trying to get into more of that. That's the end of my sellout. And I also want to shout out Bob Myers. Bob Myers, this is the closest I'll probably ever get to shouting out Bob Myers, former GM of the Golden State Warriors. Thank you so much for bringing us such a lovely dynasty. You're such an amazing man. I love you so much. I'll probably never love a GM more than Bob Myers. So shout out Bob Myers, absolute legend. And someone who's even more of a legend for my last shout out, I want to shout out Zeke, social media manager of
really
Guardians.
two of the most important people.
Zeke is in the
Golden
call
State
right now,
Warriors.
and he is no doubt kicking his feet and smiling.
And he didn't even say hi to me when I came in, but that's fine. I'll still shout out my boy. Shout out to Zeke. Thank you guys.
Shout out Zeke.
Oh my goodness!
Gotta shout out Zeke.
Powerful.
Zeke and Bob Myers really two of the people behind, the whole Warriors
Yes.
dynasty for the last couple
Without
years.
their
Absolutely.
tag team, we would be nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Zeke actually gave me this.
Oh,
He gave me
No
this.
way!
jacket.
Really?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me show the back of it just because it's so dope. He gave this to me at Genesis this year. This is I've never seen this. This is like a championship hoodie 2022
My
right
God.
there. Shout out the Warriors, shout out Zeke.
That is really quite something special.
absolutely love that.
Wow.
Man, I can only imagine how definitely not embarrassed Zeke is right now. Oh, but hey, really fun episode. I think it was wonderful to have you on. PewPewU. It's weird. Calling you Kevin is weird because I feel like I'm third personing. But thank you so much for coming on. It was really fun hearing your insight. Of course, Toph holding it down as always. I think the dynamic between the two of you guys was really fun for this episode too. So glad everyone got to experience that. And thank you, everyone out there, for calling, listening, and tuning in. We will, of course, be back next week for more Radio Melee. But for now, we are signing out. See ya.